Well, it's our final stint of the FM24 Firefighter before Christmas and of 2024. So let's celebrate in style by moving out of Europe for the first time in our career. For those of you who didn't watch the end of the last episode, we are heading off to South Africa. And we've got one of those rare clubs where, as well as being in a relegation battle, we could end up fighting near the top end of the table. This is a big trip to the South African second tier. And in today's episode, we're off to Venda FC for Club 8 of the Firefighter. Yes, hello and welcome along to Club 8, Part 8 of the Firefighter with me, Daniel. We are back today as the FM24 edition takes a trip out of Europe. We're heading to Venda and South Africa to see how we get on in a very tightly compacted league. We're going to take the job offer, possibly the highest of our career if we can negotiate the wage up well. And while the club itself has financial troubles to deal with, this is an opportunity for us to push on to the next level. If you're looking forward to it, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. But for now, let's go and get through to the inbox. Let's go and see what we've got to contend with. The wage that we're being offered up front, just 25 quid a week less than our biggest ever offer at South Gower. Bit of a bizarre one, that. But the transfer budget and the wage budget are significantly in the red. The wages this club is currently spending around 12.5 grand a week. They want to finish mid-table. This is not a job where we can go in and just keep the club up. Yes, they're in a slightly better position. They're outside the relegation zone, but they're 2 points off 15th place. They're also, though, only 8 points off third. So could it be a battle at the top or the bottom? Let's go and find out what we're going to inherit, because we're going to start the negotiations and we are going to try and get our way up to £450 a week. Hopefully we're going to be successful in that. A 6-month contract at Venda FC. And for the first time, we're moving outside of Europe. Let's go and head to our first day in the job. Well, here we are. A little bit of mixed signal in here. The badge I've seen in real life has no green in it. The scarf there is green and white, and then the kit is black and yellow, so something's not quite gone right. And also this breaking news is coming from the Latvian Football Daily. Now, I know we managed in Latvia last, but I'm not sure they'd be taking that keen an interest on us going to South Africa. However, 10 league games without a win for Venda FC. They're 10th place in the division. They're a club that is falling fast and needs to stop the rot. So let's see what we've got on our first day at the club. It's a 2-star reputation team, expected to finish slap bang in the middle of the table. And one of my favourite parts when I went for this interview, the assistant manager. What a name, Macbeth Sabaya. Let's see what you're like. Not bad at all, actually. It could have been worse than that. Technical director Johnny Ferreira is solid enough. I'm starting to feel a bit more confident. Okay facilities, a 10,000 capacity stadium, and one of the rare leagues and jobs so far where the cup hasn't started yet, so we could yet go on and do well there. Says the finances are okay, but they're massively in debt. The best two players are the two midfielders in on loan. We'll look at them in a moment. 4-2-3-1 being recommended. We haven't played that for a while, but that could work in this one. The fans actually have a lower expectation than the board, which is unusual. They're being realistic ones for once, which is not what we're used to seeing. So we left Supernova at the end of our contract, and interestingly, because our deal had finished, we weren't marked as resigned, we marked as departed at the end of contract. So we're going to try and do the same here if we can get away with it. We've got to remain in a division to avoid upsetting the supporters, but mid-table is the expectation from the board. And actually, the wage spend has gone up nearly 13 grand a week, and the wage budget is 9. That is basically 50% over we're getting towards there. And with the funding not available in the transfer budget, it's going to be very hard to get that back into the good books. Let's see the tactical direction. We'll worry about our formation in a minute. Will 4-2-3-1 be the best? Well, let's see. We start with the staffing. Firstly, who have we got? There's a few spaces for us to improve it, but there is a base here this time. We saw the technical director was solid. We saw the assistant was solid. What about the goalkeeping coach? Mafaha is not terrible. Again, passable at this level for now. A general coach in Maponya, who, again, decent enough across the board. Performance analyst, not bad at all. Tens is pretty good at this level. Head physio, 8, not the worst. Sports scientist, 7. And a chief scout of 8. For judging ability, I guess for now we'll do the job. But maybe just 1 or 2 improvements in certain roles. But I'm equally conscious of the fact that, look, there's not a lot of recruitment outside South Africa and we've not got the biggest budget. So we're going to need to be careful not to put this club in jeopardy, because equally, if we can find a way, we want to get the finances and the bank balance in the black so we can ask for another coaching badge when our current one's done. We're currently studying for the Continental C. The finances for now are just in the red, but all of the other stuff suggests that we're going to plummet in the wrong direction. Maybe only a cup run or a big league finish can save that. Let's start by having a look at the youth players before we go over to the first team. There is a reserve squad here, and there's one player they're suggesting to promote. 2-star ability, central defender. I mean, he's not great, but then he can't jump, but he's 2-star, so we'll put him in there for now. Is there anyone else of that level of an ability? 1.5-star is the best we've got. A not very good number 10, and an 18-year-old keeper that I guess if we haven't got a backup would be okay. There is another 1.5-star player out on loan, Sile Mchweni. Not the best personality or determination. In terms of the youth teams, there's one player in the 21s that is 1.5-star. Not very good, poor personality. And in the 19s, there's a couple of 16-year-olds that look okay. So Pitso Bethelsi is, not the best, I would say. And then another goalkeeper, Ernesto Mate. He looks like he's got promise, but perhaps at the moment, not the jumping reach reflexes or aerial reach to succeed. So nothing really that's going to stand out and make a difference at first team level. But let's see what we are inheriting here, because it is a real mix of superstars, average and pretty poor. But there are quite stringent rules in this division. So we've got to have 3 players starting who are under 23. Now, that shouldn't be a problem initially, because I can see already we've got 4.5-star there, 3-star there, 4-star there. Beyond that, though, there's a lot of dross. So to get a starter after that is going to be difficult if we do pick up injuries or anything of the like. We've got a couple of experienced players over 30. We've got a lot of younger ones in the squad, as the rules would dictate. And we are allowed 3 foreign players, but apart from an Angolan, there is no one in this squad that isn't South African. Let's get them in positional order and run through them, starting with one of my favourite names in goal. Going to have to be very careful with this one. Elson Sithole. He is a 25-year-old South African keeper. 3.5-star ability. What do you like? Balanced personality. Solid enough. Not the best determination if we go behind. And he can't really jump, which seems to be a theme this year. But otherwise, very passable. Sambo is the right back. He is quick, can tackle, can cross, and he's a leader. I mean, he hasn't got a lot of attributes, but the ones he has are important. So happy enough with that. Central defender, 3.5-star ability. Kenneth Thatheni. He is 31 years of age. Again, pretty quick. Naturally fit. Can't jump. No height. The centre-half curse this year has hit him as well. No composure, but he's got the core attributes. And again, they're 3 very decent players at this level, I think. The next best defender after that is where the worry comes, because Malalaki is a 29-year-old centre-half. 2.5-star ability. I mean, he's all right, to be fair to him. Again, not even 6 foot, mentally a bit weaker, but overall, we're not going to have defenders that are playing out from the back, but we're solid enough. Not sure he's justifying his wage there. We looked at the lad that we've just promoted from the youth team. He's not as good as any of them, or the reserve, sorry. 20-year-old Lorit Kasongo is the only non-South African. Again, a little bit of promise and a good personality, but not really there yet. We've then got a fullback, Onke Mikizi. He is, he's all right. He can play both fullbacks. He can cross the ball. He can tackle. He's fairly decent, to be honest. I'm happy with him. Then there is an 18-year-old that's 1-star ability. We're not even going to look at you. You can go straight down to the 21s. How injured is the oldest player in the squad? 36-year-old Thato Makeke is out for 2 to 4 months. Right, okay. Physically, he's done. The rest of his game's all right. So as a utility player, backup left back, backup holding midfielder. Looks like he can do a job for us once he's back, but that is going to be a while. Then we've got one of the under 23s who's going to be starting for us, and it is Sifo Masia, a left back. Are you good? Can't really defend. His natural position is left back. But as a flying wing back, he's got the determination, he's got the character, he's certainly got the physical attributes. I don't think he's the worst player in the world, you know. It would almost be better if we could get a left back and have him as a winger. I think he would be more dangerous in that position, but he's very solid either way. No problem starting him. We've then got 3 quality centre midfielders, starting with Miguel Diaz. He's the worst of the 3, 30 years of age. No physical presence at all, but good enough on the ball, solid player. Maybe just lacks that edge to be an overall central midfielder for us. Unlike that is Sikasana, who is an under 23 on loan, 18-year-old South African, under 20 international. He is very good. We're talking maybe even sort of League One level English football here. On loan from Cape Town City, fairly professional personality, likes to dictate the tempo of the game, got a good technique, but mentally and physically, absolutely outstanding. Again, not the biggest lad, but much more of a physical presence overall. Really like him. And he's joined by another lone player, 4-star ability, Abule Majavu. He is 20 from Sundowns. Not as good as you can see, but definitely a starter here. Again, a bit better physically than what we saw with Diaz. And if we are going to be playing two holding midfielders, I think those two would be the ones we opted for. Let's move down to the more attacking players because it's starting to thin out a bit here. And weirdly, one of the best players is transfer listed, which I'm confused by. Edson Kamalo is the first though, 27 years of age. He's a natural right winger. Just really solid basic attributes. All of the core ones are 11s and 12s. He's good off the ball. He's got pace. He can cross. He can dribble. He can pass. He's got good technique. Everything else is average. Fine. I'm happy with that. We've got an under 23 at Jordan Mabombo. He's a central midfielder who's technically a bit off it. He's very short, but again, off the bench certainly would be useful, I'm sure. Then we've got the best attacking player at the club, who is a left winger that's injured. How long for? Only 1 to 4 days. That's not so bad. Brendan Magope is 4-star ability. Very similar to Kamalo on the other side, to be honest. Maybe the difference is he's probably got 1 extra attribute point in those key areas. But he's definitely a winger with quality. He can finish really well as well. So he's someone who could be a threat off that left-hand side. There's another youngster here, a left winger. You are average, an emergency backup at best. Then we've got the transfer listed one, Talani Mini, who's 3-star ability, looks one of the best players. Why is he transfer listed? Is it wages? Because he is one of the higher earners, but he's very good technically. He's certainly the best player in that attacking midfield role. I guess you could argue you could push Bajavu forward and play Diaz in a holding role, but I think I'd rather start this guy. So I'm going to integrate him back into my first 11. He has started every game here this year, so it's not like they're trying to get him out of the club. It must just be a financial thing. No, it says the club no longer requires his services. That's absolute nonsense. He'll be playing for me. And the best one after that, Sedzani Madao. He is a striker at 24. No physical presence, no height, no jumping reach, no nothing like that. But he's quick, he can finish. He's actually quite handy on the ball. His composure and off the ball movement, his decision making is very good. It's almost like a bit of a hybrid between an advanced forward and a deep line forward. He could almost be a complete one if he had that sort of physical edge. But for now, he'll either have to be advanced or a false 9. Definitely the best striker we've got, though. The second best is Muzi Kanyi, who is very much the basic getting behind, run and try and score off the shoulder. He's got the movement and the finishing attribute, so definitely nothing against him. Could be a super sub for us in the next few weeks. And maybe where we've got the injury to Mokgope, if we're playing that 4-2-3-1, there's not another left winger. So do we look at perhaps putting Madao a bit deeper, Mini to the left, Kanyi up front? Does give us options, doesn't it? And then the other transfer listed player, 2-star ability on massive money, Mutsivuli, is a 30-year-old striker. I think he's a less good version of the two we've just looked at. He is 6'2", but he can't jump, so it makes no difference to us. And he is obviously a little more versatile, but he can't cross. So based on that, I think he's probably one we'd let go. And again, just trying to balance up the books. Him and what I assume are a lot of players in the reserves on £100 a week, having looked at them, I think we've got to try and get a few of them out of the club just to bring it down a little bit towards the wage budget we've been set. But overall, not a bad squad this. We've got balance, which is something we don't normally have. There's not a lot of depth. We don't expect that at this level. But I would actually argue, bar a central defender for Malalaki, which isn't essential, I could probably put out a decent 11 from the very first game. The problem is there are a couple of positions we'd like to improve. So if we could get another left back, push Massia forward, if we could get another centre half, I do feel we'd be a bit of a contender. And if we can keep most people fit, we've got a real chance of going on a run, because you look at the bench, we're still going to have when everyone's fit, Kanye, Diaz, hopefully Malalaki if we can get a defender, and McKeezy who can play both fullbacks roles. So I actually think there's a good opportunity, and you never know with these clubs because this division's so tight. 10 points separating third and a playoff for promotion and 15th in a relegation zone. You never know what's going to happen. But this is a Venda side that I'm feeling fairly confident with. Last season they finished up in 4th, the season before 9th, the season before 7th. They're a little bit of a mixed bag. And in terms of points, it doesn't vary that much. So if we can get them up towards that 50-point mark, this could be something quite spectacular. It's another benefit for these leagues, as we've had in a number of our jobs. We've got one game against second place, which will be a good barometer of where we are. Then we've got the whole of January off for the transfer window for the winter break before returning in February against the side who are rock bottom. So if we can improve this squad, I don't think this is one of those where we need to sign 6, 7 or 8. I think literally maybe 3 signings and we could compete here. I quite fancy this team. Of course, we don't know the ability compared to the rest of the division, but a season preview still has us higher than we are, and it's very tight aside from the 2 that are expected to finish at the top. I think we could go on a little run here. I'm not worried about relegation looking at it. It's whether we can end up in mid-table or maybe can we push up towards third. I am looking at this for the first time and thinking there might be a chance, We've got a good base to work with. We'll see how it pans out. We're going to come back once we've decided on our tactic for our first game, and then we're going to go through the winter break, get some players in, and hopefully we'll return at the start of February with things looking healthy and set in stone. I'll see you in a minute for that. Well, I return to you following a very promising first game and a very competent January transfer window, because if we go and have a look at what's happened since we've been here, we have had a really positive start. Let's firstly get the opening game out the way, where we did make the change that I sort of hinted at tactically. We played 4-2-3-1, but I put Kanye up front and adjusted the other players around the system, and it worked a treat. He scored a brace. After we fell behind twice, we came back to 2-2, and then Mabombo off the bench, one of those young players getting the winner, a couple of others contributing as well. Was a really good game, and we saw the impact late on that fresh legs could make there, something that does impress me moving forward, despite the fact we only took 8 away fans. Maybe that's something that's a common theme in this league. We'll keep an eye on it. We then played a friendly last week, which went okay. Of course, we've got to build fitness after a month off, and we now return as the league and the cup starts to ramp up again for what is a very busy second half of the season, albeit most weeks we're only playing once a week, so it does allow us to keep people fit. I'm guessing that will change if we get through in the cup. Let's have a look at the more exciting parts though. Firstly, the finances. I know it looks bad that they're still at minus 17,000, but actually we had a cash injection in January. I'm hoping we're going to see a couple more throughout the year, because if we do, it just boosts us back into a positive balance. And maybe if we're doing well later in the year, I can then go and get another coaching badge, which really would put the icing on the cake for this job, where I think it's going to go very well. If we have a look at the transfers though, this is where all the big news has been. Firstly, we have made a few adjustments on the staff in front, but again, we've not gone mad. There are 7 people in, but 3 of them were under 21s, which we set to be done by the backroom team. We don't need to be involved in that, and 2 of them reserves as well. The only 2 that we actively did were these 2. The recruitment analysts who came in, who actually is very solid at their job, and we had an okay scout, but we didn't really have that bit behind it. So the analysis became important. Then the second one, Godfrey Sittle, familiar name, of course, same surname as the goalkeeper, but as you can see again, just much better at his job. And I felt that was a department that we needed to improve. We did have a go at a couple of physios and scouts, but we just couldn't find ones that improved us. And there weren't any good fitness coaches popping up. So in the end, the approach was just to wait for under 21 staff. They're terrible. They're not going to improve. But it does mean that we've got a couple more in the club that we can utilise for training if need be. With those done now, let's move on to the players, which is where all the excitement is. And I said I'd like up to 3 signings. We only got 2, but they're both on loan and they're both very important for what we want. Most importantly though, 7 players have been loaned out, all of them having their wages covered elsewhere. So we're basically talking that we've taken between 600 or 700 quid a week off the wage bill. You can see a few of those were sort of 1.5 star players, prospects for the future, but they weren't close enough to our squad. So I've made the decision to save finances instead There are a few others we tried to get out unsuccessfully. The two that have come in, though, are in the superstar realms. They're not the best players at the club, but a bit like we saw with Sikasana and with Majavu, players that can make a real impact from the start on loan without the wage contribution, and most importantly, perhaps, while helping us with the under 23 criteria, giving us additional options there so we don't end up in a position where we have to play a really weak player. So the first one, he was actually on the scouting centre when we got here. So I do have to give some credit to the original scouting and recruitment team. Solomon is the man on loan from Black Leopards. He is an 18-year-old centre-half, 3-star ability. I think you can see generally a bit of a step up from what we've got. And it's not so much about what he can and can't do as a footballer. It's more the physicality. He's 6'1" and he's got a great jumping reach. And you know me, I like a threat from a set piece, which I didn't feel we had at all. He adds that. He adds the opportunity to score from set pieces. He adds quality in defensive areas. He's good in the tackle. He's brave. He's a leader. He's got great positioning, which I'm always a fan of. I just think he's a really good pro. He was a first choice player at Black Leopards. I've no idea why they loaned him out. But he's going to be playing for us now. It's a huge benefit to us. And he's done well so far in training. So hopefully that continues. The second one, again, came in early in the month, got the job done. We had a couple of trialists who wanted silly money, so we just took this option instead. From Golden Arrows, we got Vincent Gameda. He's a left back. He's 17 years of age. And again, not going to set the world alight, but the core defensive attributes are there. He's got a great personality, the youngster. He's not so short and poor in the air that he can't make an impact. Physically, he's pretty good aside from that. He's very good mentally for his age, probably the most impressive area of his game. But he's also good in the tackle and can mark. And while we lose a bit going forward from what we had with Masia before, he does give us the option to be a bit more of a defensive solid unit and maybe focus on the front 4 or 5 going forward and maybe pushing those 2 holding midfielders on and just leaving the back 4 to defend. So really like those 2 additions. Think they've done enough. We would have liked one more just to bolster areas of the team, give us a bit of strength in depth. But a couple of free agents fell through and a couple just wanted too much. So with one other loan deal not quite making it over the line, we have to settle for 2 signings. But the 2 I'm very happy with. Does give us a little bit more strength in depth. And as you can see now, just looks a little bit healthier at that top end with a 3-star left back and with another 3-star centre half. They've got potential. They should improve as the year goes on. I think we're in a pretty good position, to be honest. So we've got the players, we got the opening win, and we've now got our tactics set in stone as well. This is the 4-2-3-1 we're playing. There's a couple of roles and duties that are both going to change and that we've had to adapt to. So this regista role is a bit of an interesting one. It's actually the best position of both of these centre midfielders. And I mean it politely. This is a guy I've got to get the best out of. And this is a guy I've got to get the best out of. And they can only really play as registas and deep line playmakers. So we've got one in each position. We're able to rotate it when need be. And then, of course, we've also got Miguel Diaz, who can come in that area. He's more of a deep line playmaker, and we just move the other over. So it works out for all of our first 3 choices. And then Masia was in as a wing back on the left. It was a little lopsided. Now we've got Gameda. I'll probably just go for 2 standard fullbacks and have a bit more of a solid defensive line. Maybe allow this lad to push on a little bit more, push them into midfield if need be. But equally, I'm very happy with where we are. In midfield and attack, we've got really good technical players. So we are able to play a bit more of a passing style. Something I've not really been able to do much in this game. It's been a lot of focus on width, on target men, on things like that. But at this club, I feel like we can play the ball through the middle. We can try and play a little. Don't want to play out from the back too much, but we're trying to get it to the fullbacks and then into midfield. And then once we get it there, we're going to play a little bit more football and hopefully play through the middle. There's no point us getting it wide and flying crosses in all game because we've not got the height in the box. We've not got the movement in there. But the one thing we do have here is we've got pace in defensive areas. Both fullbacks are quick. One of the centre halves is quick and can't jump. So the best way to keep it out of the opposition box is to play a high line. So for the first time in this save, and one of my first times in this year's FM, I'm getting to play the high press, the high line, play a little bit further up the pitch. It just suits this team better. And hopefully from a personal point of view, as a selfish manager in this save, where we're only at each club a season, I can build a portfolio for being adaptable. I've played the deep defensive lines. I've played the wide and long ball football. I've played for set pieces. I've played defensive structures. But now we've got a team where we can just push up the pitch and try and have a go because Look, our best players are attacking ball players, so get them on the ball in the other half of the pitch. And we've got a quick defensive line, so if we make a mistake, we might be able to catch up and deal with it at the back. That's the plan anyway. Let's see how it works out. We're up to 8th place with that one win. You can see still all very tight across the entire table. Now almost from 2nd down to 15th. Let's see what the next few weeks bring. We'll be back with another update when there's suitable news. Well, a couple more additions to the backroom team and a few more players that we're trying to push out on loan, but we've got a deal pre-agreed for the summer, so I have actually protected the future of this club. And to be honest, it's a player that I tried to get in January, but we didn't have the wages for until we let 6 or 7 out on loan. So Daniel Ntoyi is one of those who will be joining the club. And let me tell you, we have done this club well for the future because he is going to be probably first choice backup for now. And in the future will be a superstar for the football team. Let's talk about action on the pitch though, because it's become a dream start of this club. I thought things would go well here when I saw the squad. I didn't realise how well. This is a club that I think we can take right up towards the top. If this were a head coach, say, and we were here for 2 or 3 years, we'd be having a bundle of fun with this lot. As it was, our biggest scare actually came in the first game after the break against the bottom team. Gondal Stars played really well from 3-0 down, got themselves back to 3-2. They certainly gave us a scare. They certainly had us worried. But Majavu, Kamalo and Mini got the goals to get us through. We then almost lost to lower league opposition in the cup in City Kings. We scored in extra time, still nearly threw it away. But on penalties we did the job with the youngster on loan scoring the winning pen. It was a very low quality shootout and an awful lot of attempted Panenkas, which I found a bit weird. Following that, though, wins against La Masia, thanks to Madao and Mini, against Royal Eagles, thanks to an own goal and Madao, and then Madao again with the goal to put us ahead against Richards Bay in a 1-1 draw for another cup win, thanks to his goal. Mabombo in the 93rd minute, and Kamalo in between against Swallows made sure that we got through to the next round, and they're a team from the top tier, so it shows that we have got the ability to compete with everyone. We now go into a run of mixed fixtures against teams in the middle, teams at the top as the prospective champions and teams right at the bottom. And if we have a look at how this table's looking at the moment, Gondal Stars have now caught up, which shows why they were competitive in their game. But we are up to 6th place. We are now 15 clear of 15th place in the relegation zone. A bit like Petrazalka back in Club 4. I think this is just the second time with this save where relegation isn't even going to be a thought. We're not going to have to worry about it. We can just crack on and start focusing upwards. So I look at this now thinking after it, we're probably going to take on tougher challenges than we have been, clubs that are in a bit more turmoil. And although there has been financially on this front, on the pitch, we've inherited a really good team. My question now is this might be the only chance we get to get a promotion in a Firefighter save. Could we go and do the unthinkable? Top spot is gone. They're 16 clear. A 2nd and 3rd are just 7 ahead. We've already beaten Barocca this season. We've still got to face both of them again. Can we stay consistent and up near the top? We'll find out as the weeks go along. We'll be back with more news as and when it comes. Well, this is gearing up to be both an exciting and surprising end to the season. I thought this would go well. I said it when we met the squad. I didn't expect this. We are 2nd on 45 points. We cannot lose. It's just one of those stints where everything clicks and comes together. We just can't stop winning. We're now 29 points clear of the relegation zone. And we're only 10 points off the top, which I don't think we're going to catch, but it's been a remarkable run. And we've also had some very weird messages, which I might need some help from South African rules experts on. Let's quickly cover the schedule first, because it has been a very good spell there. You were with me last after that Swallows game, weren't you? Since then, 5 games, 5 victories. Polokwane City were beaten 3-1. Majavu got a brace in that one. Solomon, the January signing, scored in a 2-0 win against Cape Town. Then we played the leaders and prospective champions and beat them 2-1 with a good value for it as well, which made me all the more confident. We beat the bottom side 2-0, Makeke making it comfortable late on. Good to see him back at 36 and contributing. And then Muzzy Kanyi, not scored I don't think since the opening game, has come back and got himself another one there. Really important goal for him and a really important goal for the club late on against Black Leopards. One of the first games where we showed real fragility. You can see Sitol, the goalkeeper, at 7.4, the best rated player on the pitch. We're into a cup quarter final against a good top tier side. We've got a few games left in the season. We play the two sides directly below us battling for the playoffs. We've got a few games at home that are banana skins on paper. How will it work out? Well, I don't know, because if we have a look at the South African Championship rules, it does say quite clearly the first is promoted and second and third go into a mini playoff league. Now, there's also all these weird periods within the season, and the third period has just finished. Now, after which we got this message. Let me go and find it, because I don't really understand what it means. We're given 25 grand for achieving first place in the South African National First Division Championship third period. The board are pleased that the team is challenging for a place in a playoff mini league. Now, does that just mean that we get a 25 grand bonus for being the best team in each quarter of the season and then the table continues as normal? Or does that mean anything else? Now, the thing I really don't understand is it says 4 teams take part in the playoffs. So does that mean from the Premier Division, if we have a little look at that, where is the Premier Division? I've gone the wrong way, haven't I? So if we go to the Premier Division, there's only one team there listed as going in the playoffs. So is it then 3 teams in there instead? Let's have a quick look at how this works, because we've now got to think about promotion playoffs, which I didn't expect. Right, 3 teams. So the team who finished second bottom of the Premier Division, and then the second and third place team in our league, go head to head. They play each other home and away. And then the winner is whoever's top after that on goal difference, then goals scored, if not by points, of course. Same rules apply to the competition. So we could end up in a whole little promotion league at the end of this season if we keep up our form, because we are flying. And this is going to be a rare opportunity. I've not had anything like this, as you've seen. The first, 5 episodes of this, we were battling along the bottom. We got sacked once. We got sacked twice, in fact. We had final day heartbreak, final day successes. I know at Petrozelka we got ourselves well clear, but we've not really had one like this. For the first time, we could be battling at the top, and we're getting close to making it a reality. Let's see what the rest of the season brings, whether there's any more good news around the corner. Well, it's getting very tense towards the end of this season now, because after you were last with me, we slipped up in the very next game against Maritzburg, a bottom half team. We lost 2-0 at home. We then went out of the cup in extra time, which was a little bit frustrating because players were tired at the end. And it almost cost us in the first half against Sport in the week after. But second period, Kanye got a brace and Mini got one too. Then a 4-3 win, a big win against Kazrick Stars last time out. They are one of those sides directly competing with us at the top end of the table. And despite going ahead twice in the first half and having a late scare against us by getting a third, we were able to pick up the 3 points and move ourselves back into third place. We are 1 ahead of Barocca, who we play on the final day, and 1 behind Kazrick Stars, who we just beat. And the goal differences are all very close as well. It couldn't be more close, aside from Tux at the top, who are getting promoted. At the bottom, it's pretty much done. We're nowhere near it. But this is getting very tight, to say the least. We are back today because we are going to look at our youth intake together. No stars to help us for the here and now, but Led Waba, another one for the future, and actually a pretty good personality, which we've not seen with a lot of the ones we've inherited here. There were a few other messages the last couple of days of note. We've started to pick up big injuries. The young centre-half we bought on in loan out for 6 weeks now, and McKeezy out for a few weeks as well. We're also missing long-term Mutchivuli, and that left winger just keeps getting injured. But we're still managing to compete despite that, especially with only 1 game a week. And then the other big news, of course, is this one. While we're not ever going to sign a new contract at these clubs, it is brilliant news that we're getting those offers, and fantastic for us moving forward that clubs are seeing the value in the job we're doing. And here, of course, a no-brainer. We've done nothing but win, basically. If we have a look at the finances, it's still massively in the red. I'm just waiting for another cash injection. Once we get it, I'm going to go big. I'm going to try and get the coaching badge because the club vision is brilliant. The supporters love us too. Hopefully, it's a chance for us to get the Continental B. We'll wait a few weeks, see if there's an opportunity. But even if not, this club has given us an awful lot. Well, we might be heading into the Christmas break on this channel with a bumper feature-length episode because we return today for the final day of the season. And as you can see, it is huge. There are 1 point separating second, third and fourth. We are playing second v fourth. If we lose it, we will probably drop out of the playoffs on the final day unless Kasrick Stars bottle it as well. If we draw or win, we're in a promotion playoff and you're going to get to see at least one more game from that as well. There has been a pretty big week off the pitch as well, though, so we've got to go and have a look at that. If we go back down to the 11th of May, which is where most of the news came, we've picked up a few more injuries. So Magope, that left winger, he just can't stop, bless him. But this is the big one. The Continental B licence has been covered because just prior to that, if we go back a few days, we will find it somewhere here. The club got another cash injection just a day before. I took advantage. The board put in 210 grand, put the finances in the positive, and I said, yes, please, can you spend £1,000 of that on me? And the club have duly obliged. So we're now getting our Continental B. And the thing that so many of you said in the comments was going to be the hardest part of this save in short stints has been easier than in any other save I've ever done. Because you just wait for the moment you're doing well and that the club you're at has a positive bank balance and you're flying. And on this occasion, it's only happened about a week at the time we've been here. We've taken advantage and we're now getting our 5th coaching badge, which should maybe push us up when it comes to our next job after this performance as well. For now, though, it's all about Barocca. It is a huge game between 2nd and 4th. And look, while this save is the Firefighter, our aim when we came in was to get out of relegation trouble and get into mid-table. Now we're in this position for the first and probably only time in this save. We might as well try and make the most of it. We've only lost, I think, 2 games since we've been here. We've drawn a couple recently. The last game against Magacy, a 1-1 draw. 10 minutes to go, we gave away a penalty. Could have been all but done without that. We did win the game before convincingly. We've been really good at home, bar that Maritzburg match. So let's see what today's brings. There is no change to the tactical style. Why would there be? We're absolutely flying. But this is one of the rare other sides that play a 4-2-3-1 as well. And that makes me think, are they going to be a little bit stronger? We had a few of our under-23s away on international duty at times. Today, crucially, Sikazana is back. Solomon had the injury. He's getting there. He will feature in the playoffs if we make it. But the only change for this game as a result is going to be Diaz out for Sikazana. The rest of the team stays the same. Masia is playing in that more advanced role. Malalaki, who was here at the start, has just come back in at centre-half. And otherwise, you could pretty much pick the team. There's a couple of young players and reserves in the bench that we wouldn't really want to play if we could avoid it. Makeba is not great at all. And Fortuin is the one we promoted from the reserves, who's not brilliant. But otherwise, we can't complain about the quality here. This is the 11 in full. It is Sito in goal, Sambo and Gamedi, the fullbacks, Datheni alongside Malalaki at centre-half, Sikazana and Majavu, the brilliant midfield duo on loan, Mini ahead of them with Masia and Kamalo either side, and Madal through the middle up front. Let's go into it, the final game of the season. But will it be? Because if we lose this one, we won't get a chance at the playoffs. If we win or draw it, there's going to be more fun to come. Let's get into this. They've got a player so good they named him twice. Natia's the man to watch out for. Oh, I always get worried when you see players with the double name. Are they going to be as good as JJ Okocha? Let's say a win clinches a playoff place. Do your best, lads. We got a couple motivated. Now let's see what the first half performance brings. Have you got it in you to do something special into the first minute? Let's find out. It's been a quiet start. I don't mind that. 0-0 is good enough for us. We're going to keep an eye on Castric Stars and we'll get the table up in a minute too. As Ronnie attack here with Madal through towards Mini. Just over hit. But look at that 6, how high up the pitch they are. That attacking 6 are all up there as Kamalo's in. Fires it across goal. It's just wide of the far post. We thought about it. We're dominant early again. We've played really well so far. No sign of shrinking on a big occasion yet. Dominating the ball and the chances. We've now picked up the first yellow card. We've got to be a little concerned. For as long as it stays 0-0, one goal can change everything. Barocca score and we drop out of it. Castric Stars are drawing, so as it stands, if we're defeated, they'll go above us as well. But with 40 minutes gone, they've not even had a shot. Surely at some point they're going to have a go. Unless they're pinning their hopes on Castric Stars losing away at a bottom half team, surely they're going to have a go here. We score most of our goals in the second half, so I'm not overly concerned. And we are playing well, so let's just say keep going. You'll get more chances eventually. We have had the best one of the match. We've not created bundles. And you can see here, we're playing out from the back. Those 2 holding midfielders drop in to get the ball. Then they push up to press after as we work down the right to Kamalo. Takes on his man, finds Mini. He beats his man on the right-hand side, but there he is. So good they named him twice. He wins it back. They're playing along the back. They're not showing too much ambition yet. but you know it only takes a moment. And it would be typical in one of our better performances if it goes wrong. Here they go down the right-hand side. Big switch of play. Don't do this to me. They've not even had a shot. It's not even about on target. They've not had a shot. But they've got the ball out wide here. There's two in the middle. It's going to happen, isn't it? To the back post, headed over. Or is it? No, it looped down. Sito had to save it in the end. It's comfortable for the keeper. The first threat on our goal, though, it's taken 50 minutes. But we're back in possession. And now we can look forward with Sambo. Into midfield for Mini, who turns on it and gives it away. Signs of frustration, just trying to do a bit too much now. Ball into the back post, and Love is there. And his header does go over the bar. Couple of warning signs in the last minute. They're just growing into this Barocca. And we're starting to see a bit more of the game and a bit more at our end of the pitch, which I don't like. As we work down the right here again. Kamalo's ball forward's not great. Not a brilliant performance, though. It's been nicked by Madao, who's in one-on-one. Madao, good save. The finish wasn't there. He's been so reliable this season, but that one's not taken. And just above my head, you might have called it. Casric Stars are winning. They're up to second now. There is no second chance if we slip up in this game. And we've given the ball away. One-on-one on the attack here. Lolotlo down the right-hand side. Big switch of play. And Love is there. There's 5 and 6 arriving for Barocca. They're really having a go this second half. We managed to defend it, see it out well. And at the moment, a draw's enough, but it's getting a bit more nervy. You can see from that match momentum there in the second half, they're really growing into this game. I think it might be one of those where substitutions is needed to try and save the day. Are there nerves? Casric Stars have conceded. So a draw would see a second at the minute. No idea if that makes a difference when we get to it. McKeezy is going to come on at right back for Sambo. We're going to take the right winger Kamala off, who's given it away a few times. Madao will move out there with Kanzi coming on up front. Massier on the left would come off, but we've not got the sub now. So I'm going to take off Mini for my Bombo, who scored a couple off the bench this year. And Majava, who's knackered as well. So Diaz is on for him. And we'll switch sides with the young superstar. Gamadi's got a yellow card at left back, so McKay will come on for him. 5 changes made, a little bit of experience on the pitch too. What can we do? We've had the best chances. We've had nearly all of the match. And with Casric Stars back ahead, we're down to third. If we concede here, we drop out, which, look, dropping out of the playoffs on the final day is not a disaster by any means, but from the position we were in at the start of the day, it would be gut-wrenching. 4 minutes of stoppage time, and I think we are deservedly going to hold on. For the first time ever in the Firefighter, we have gone from relegation battlers when we joined the club to a promotion playoff. We've got 4 more games now, I think, to get through. I really hope they're not interrupted by international duty or anything like that. Let's just go and see how it works out, because we have secured third spot. We're in that playoff now. How does it work? How many days are between the games? What's going to happen? Is Venda's best ever finish? It was 4th last time, wasn't it? And now it's third. £52,000. That's going to be very important for the club. Have we got a schedule yet? Or have we got to wait? We're going to give it a couple of days. Just see what happens, how it's set up, and when we're going to return for the matches. Well, with a quick apology for the change of background, as daylight has faded now and we have moved to our official lighting. We've also got the crucial draw for the Premier Soccer League Playoff Mini League. Bit of a mouthful that. But ultimately, we are part of a 3-team league with Casric Stars and Hungry Lions, who are looking to get promoted to the top tier. Hungry Lions already there. Their league only finished yesterday, so they've had an extra week where they've been playing football, bit less of a rest. So I'm hoping that we'll be playing against them first. Whether we're that lucky or not, I don't know. Let's see how the games have worked out. Oh, it has. So next Saturday, we go away to Hungry Lions. We then play Casric Stars, Hungry Lions at home back-to-back, and finish away against the Stars as well. So we're going to get through the first couple of them. Of course, this could just end with a whimper and disappointment. But basically, I want to build it up to a final day crescendo. If that isn't the case, if something's going to be decided on the third game, we'll come back and show that instead. So we are going to skip ahead through the first couple of matches at least. And we'll be back for a playoff decider. Is there a chance of promotion? No cheating in the comments, no skipping ahead. Do you think we've got a chance? Back in a minute to find out the answer. Well, what a special stint this is turning into, because we return today for our second final day decider of the episode. We had the first one in the regular season and now in the playoffs. Can I just say, Hungry Lions, who are in the Premier Division this year, absolute disgrace, would get beaten by almost everyone in the second tier. They have lost all 4 games to an aggregate of 16 negative goal difference, 2 5-0s to us, and then I presume a 4 and a 2 against Kasrick Stars. We also had a bit of a thriller against them in the home game because this could have looked very different tonight. Let me show you what's been going on. 5-0 away at Hungry Lions, Medal got 4. The second game against the Mini got 4. But this is the one that it hinged on. We were 4-1 down and 3-0 down against Kasrick Stars. I basically went all out attack and brought on 5 players with 20 minutes to go. Once that 4th goal went in, I went, we might as well just roll the dice now because we're going to need a result from this game, or at least to try and close the goal difference. And we've done it. A 4-4 draw, a 90th minute equaliser, the 5'10" centre-half scoring a header from a set piece. It was magnificent. However, both sides are under par today going into the big one, because although we are level on points and given the goal difference, anything other than a defeat gets this club promotion, which for a Firefighter save and a club battling relegation was remarkable. Don't forget, we took over when this club was 2 points above the relegation zone. We are without a few key players. Kamalo got an injury. Majavu has been out the whole of the playoffs, which hasn't been a disaster until now, because Sikazana, our best player, is away with South Africa's under-23s. Kasrick Stars are without 3 players themselves. I'm not sure how important they are, but they're all lone players. So he is a regular starter on the right wing, and Ponza at centre-half has played pretty much every game. And they're without one of their star goalkeepers as well. So both clubs are significantly affected by internationals and us by injuries too. The only thing that is left to be found out is who is affected more, because we played 2 games against this opposition. We won 4-3 away from home in the regular league season. We drew 4-4 at home in the reverse fixture in this playoff table. Now we go away to Kasrick Stars. Anything other than defeat and this club is up. It is such a tough game though. How is it going to pan out? 4-4-2. They've got the man up front who scored 4 against us last time. That Unlove on the right, he was on the left. That game caused us all sorts of trouble too. So let's see what we can do and what team we can put out. Because on the right, we're now without Kamalo, which probably means going back to what we did in our first game in charge. Kanyi goes in up front. Medal moves out to the right. We're also then going to have to put Solomon back in defence for Malalaki. And in midfield, I don't really know where to go, because at the moment, Makaki and Diaz are the only 2 fit, but it means I have to change the roles. And I really want to play with a Regista, but I can't. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go under par and without what we'd like in terms of roles going into this game. We will go through to the sort of reserves and youth teams just to see if there's someone we can put on the bench of quality, particularly in those central midfield roles. I think Ledwaba, the new boy, who just came through the intake, is possibly the only candidate. So he is going to come on and replace, who was it who was out? Kamalo, sub 7. He drops out of the squad entirely due to injury. So let's go and get through to this one. It is the final game of the season for sure. We've had the final day decider in the league. Now it's the playoffs. And this is the 11 we've gone for. It's as strong as it can be. It's not perfect. But will it be enough to get promotion? Both sides hindered by the international break and injuries. Let's see what happens in the promotion decider. Well, we are potentially 1 game from the unthinkable here, taking over a club in relegation trouble, but we hinted at it, didn't we? They had a squad that could compete, they had the chance to move up the table, and it was a tight division. We've proven such, and now we've got them 1 game from promotion. It could be pretty much a one-off achievement for a Firefighter save. We've got a knock to Mini, but there's no point taking him off. What would we be resting him for? It's not like he's going to be playing next week, is it? Most of these boys have signed new contracts as well. I left the director of football to do it, as obviously I'm going to be gone, or the technical director. Found out he's then retiring too. But I think the goalkeeper is the only main one who hasn't agreed to it yet. As here is Gamady on the left-hand side. McKakey's in midfield. Might just drop him into a different role here. Defensive mid, maybe. Or I could just leave it and see what happens. What's the worst that could go, eh? We only lost 4-1 last time. Though we did get better when we put him in a different role. Long ball forward is headed away by Gamady, who was suspended for the first game of the playoffs. Mini to Kanyi, drops for Diaz. In goes Medal, off the right-hand side today, and it's a brilliant bit of defending. Oh, I thought that was the moment. I've got to be honest with you. We're going to drop McCakey back into the proper role. But that was the closest we've come. I've got to say, the game that we drew 4-4, it wasn't that they battered us. We just gave away a couple from a set piece where we couldn't compete, and then a couple of long-range thunderbolts. We're 15 God in this one. We're certainly the better side. We just haven't got anything to show for it yet, but that doesn't matter. A 0-0 draw and we're promoted. It would be ironic if our third game against them is this boring, given what we've had before. We saw it even like in the South End save this year. You have certain opponents where it just works. When we played Newcastle, it was always a thriller. We're starting to get the same here. As Palace gets down the right for them. Into the box for the Stars, and it deflects in. You jammy lot. So lucky. There are a few other words I wanted to use there, but we won't. This is a family-friendly channel. Half an hour gone, and we're behind. It looks like if we're going to do it, it's going to have to be done the hard way again, but not having either of those in midfield is a real problem. McCakey's on a booking. He's really struggling in there. He's not a natural centre mid, and we haven't got another. I think I might have to be bold here and try and maybe slightly change the shape. I'm going to take him off central midfielder. I'm going to bring on Mbombo. And I know this is something I haven't done yet at this club, but I just don't think I've got many other options at this point. We're going to put him as a centre mid on support, and hopefully the sort of attacking and midfield side of the register he can do. Then we'll just have to trust the experienced defence aside from that. We are missing the winger as well because Madao is a bigger threat through the middle. There's no doubt in it. But with 5 gone in the second half, there's only been 1 shot on target. It's not like they're outplaying us. It's not that they're finding great chances. We've had the best one of the match and we're missing it. But Mini is now really struggling as well. Diaz is knackered, but we can't take him off. We've got about 20 minutes to go. And we're going to have to do the same as we did against them last time. Forget about quality on the bench. Just gamble. Fitness is everything. Massiat will come on the left, replacing Magope. We're going to put Madao through the middle, I think. Kanye will come off on the right. Mutsiasvili's not played for ages, but on you come. I'm going to have to take Mini off as well, aren't I? The number 10. I can't believe I'm doing this. It's going to be replaced by the debutant. Ledwaba, you could be the greatest ever youth intake player, despite the fact you'll only play 1 game for me. And Sambo at right back for McKeezy. We've got 20 minutes plus stoppages to go. We'll go attacking near the end if we need to throw something at it. For now, I'm going to encourage them. I don't want to lose without a shot on target. But as soon as we lost that second midfielder, I knew it was a problem. McKeezy's got to throw on the right, though, and we've got a chance. 1 big ball into the box. Massia's up. Massia heads in. Here we go. The unthinkable is on. And it's come out of nowhere. McKeezy to the back post, the sub. Massia, the other young sub, waiting there. And it's suddenly 1-1. We're back to the top. On goal difference. And those 2 thumpings against the Lions. And more importantly, that 4-all comeback could be crucial. But hang on. In they go. Good save by the goalkeeper. So good that I punched loads of stuff off the desk. So apologies for the jump cut. But can we defend the set piece? The goalkeeper can. You absolute legend. I haven't time wasted since the first game in charge. Do I change that habit now? Do I change the habit now? I am going to slow the pace down, but I'm not going to change the shape, the duties, try and put them more defensive, drop the defensive line. I'm literally just going to waste time. There's 4 minutes of stoppage time go. And this, drink it in, because this will be the best achievement we ever have in this save. We have taken a club from 2 points off the relegation zone, joining as a firefighter to try and keep them up. And confirmations aside, I'm pretty sure we have just secured promotion via the playoffs. One of the most remarkable spells I've ever had in charge of any side. What did we lose? 1 game in the whole time? And even there, where we didn't expect it, we found a way. We've probably secured the future of the club. We lost 2 games. We've drawn 5. But 2 of those were in the playoffs. It's been an absolute dream. The team have been magnificent. The squad was balanced when we got here, which is always the thing we talk about when we're meeting the team. It makes such a difference if you've got balance in all areas. And surely that is going to do wonders to our reputation, to what we've got going forward. I mean, look at them financially. They're sorted, aren't they? And we've certainly earned the coaching badge they've given us now. What an incredible achievement. What a wonderful team. They deserve so much credit. These players have performed absolutely magnificently. And even without our two best midfielders today, when we couldn't control the game like we normally do, look at Sikazana. He is the best rated player at the club. Mini got injured second best. Two of the other top five out injured from the start. And we still found a way to do it. Genuinely outstanding achievement. I'm so, so proud of them. But you know what happens next. There are 18 days to go. And then we're going to have to leave this club and look for a new challenge. Now, I do want to do something slightly different to our usual episodes here. So you're not going to see the usual ending where we go on a job hunt. What we're going to do is get through to the end of our contract. We'll do a quick season review. We're then going to leave the club there. But this year, I don't think I want to take on a winter to winter league. I want to have a few months off, give a little bit of a break, get that B license in and see what difference it makes in the winter. It will also allow us to have a week off over Christmas and hopefully come back with aplomb for the new year, a new job and a new improved reputation. So let's just see over the next couple of weeks if anything changes in regards to us because of the fact that we've got a promotion on our CV. It's something we're never going to do again in this save. I'm absolutely loving it. A first venture out of Europe, a very fruitful endeavour. Back in a moment for the season review, and we'll head through to the end of our time at the club. Well, the club's technical director has retired and we're following suit. And I was actually thinking about this. It's something we mentioned at the start of the save. This could end up being an interesting plot because there is a real opportunity now, based on the incredible achievement we've had here, that we could end up managing this club back to back. Because as I mentioned before, there's nothing to stop if the same club pops up with another Firefighter challenge that we can't take charge. If they get promoted and struggle a bit next season, it could be that come winter time, this job's available again. I certainly wouldn't be saying no to it straight away. But now though, let's look at the season review where just remarkable. You've got to say, the star midfielders they had in were brilliant. The players that they brought in were obviously superstars. But a big shout out to my two as well. Gamady and Solomon, only two signings, but both consistent. Above a 6.9 in defence. Crucial goals and assists on the odd occasion and just brilliant additions. The transfers out, look, we weren't involved in any of those, but the loans out, lots of players getting good experience elsewhere and we'll come back stronger for it. For us, we're moving up to the Premier Division. Not sure why we're seeing that here. Is it just because we played in the playoffs? Yes, it is. That comeback in the 4-4 draw is remarkable. And then the way we managed to nick something in that game a moment ago, that'll live long in the memory because we had to play differently. We had to smash and grab it. And the boys showed great spirit again. The first division, what an effort. We joined on 17 points. We were too clear of Bombay United at the bottom there. They only picked up 3 more points the rest of the season and we picked up, what, 39? Just ridiculous. Honestly, one of the greatest runs we've ever had. But even looking back at the start of the season, you can see the talent was there in the club. They won 4 in a row, but just for whatever reason lost their way. And we broke the trends. That one bizarre, disappointing defeat, but otherwise it was plain sailing. Just one of my favourite ever spells. The ball got rolling and it never dropped off. Disappointment in the cup to go out, of course, in extra time against the top tier opposition. They were the runners-up in the end. But our biggest win, 5-0 in the playoffs. Match to remember was our first one in charge. Boy, was it memorable as well. And goal of the season goes to Majavu, who scored a screamer away at Polokwane City. The finances are improved now because we got them promoted. The club's reputation will increase. The stars on the shirts are no surprise at all. But let's have a look at the best 11. Is it one we'd agree with? We definitely have the front four, those two. Do you know what? The only real question mark is Solomon or Malalaki at the back. Very similarly rated. Solomon played less games, so I get why they've gone for him. But overall, I can't argue with any of that. History in the making. What a team. What an effort. 15 goals for the top scorer medal. Magope, despite his injuries, got 11 assists. And Mini, when he did turn up, boy, he had some super games, didn't he? Let's go and get through the history in the making. The spell at the start of the season was the making of Venda FC. I'm not sure it did set them up for success, but we certainly did. What a managerial timeline for us. Bottom to the top as we take them up to the top tier. And we did a ridiculous job, if I may say so myself. It makes it 6 successes to 2 failures in this save. 2 sackings remain on the CV. But this one is finishing in style. And we can look forward to a very prosperous future after our spell at Venda FC. let's get through to the end of the month and we'll be back in a moment to see what impact that's had on our reputation, if any, and then obviously to resign from the job. And then next week, we're going to have a job hunt special where we have a look for our new one for the new year. Well, here it is. We've reached the 1st of July. Our contract has officially expired, as have a number of key players, both on loan and permanently here. And it is time for us to leave the club. But as promised first, we wanted to check, have we had any impact on our reputation? Well, no, not up front. Despite the promotion, despite the season ticking over, no gain on the reputation front yet. So it looks like it is going to be those few months off and waiting to see what happens with the B licence. But for now, we say goodbye to Venda FC. And it is a heartfelt one because they have been the club that have done the unthinkable for us and allowed us to move to the next level. So we're going to resign here. The last one didn't count as a resignation because we were out of contract. And I'm hoping that will be the same here, particularly when we go for interviews soon. Message from the board, although they wanted us to say they respect our decision, they offered us 3 or 4 new deals in June. To be fair to them, they tried nearly every week. But we leave Venda FC after the most remarkable of times, a 69% win rate. It has really picked us up on our overall managerial stats. If we go and have a look at those, just to see how we stand now, obviously jobless, but from the managerial point of view, our profile has improved massively. You can see at the bottom right of the screen, we've now got a win percentage of 46. It was under 40 when we joined this club. We'd been in those battles at the bottom. We obviously didn't win a game in our first job, and now we're starting to look a lot more positive. So things are good. We're in a good position, and we've got another coaching badge on the way, our 5th in just 8 short stints at different clubs. So hopefully when we return next weekend for the job hunt, we will be able to step up a slight level for next winter. We're going to try and give this period a miss unless a great job comes up like in Norway or something like that we just can't refuse. But if not, we're going to focus on the summer to summer leagues, give ourselves a few months off, and hopefully in 2 weeks' time have a real push with a slightly bigger reputation club. Or will we end up back with Venda? If they then struggle in a division above, will that job possibly pop up again? It could be a very interesting time. Join me next week for the job hunt live. And then a week later, we will get into our next club in this Firefighter series. A massive thank you for everyone who stuck with it again. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, as there isn't going to be another video on this channel before, a very Merry Christmas to you all. I hope you have a good one. We will be live on Twitch once the internet's up and running soon. And of course, the videos continue on the podcast channel too. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you here next Sunday. I'm sure we'll all be a few pounds heavier, but for now, have a very good Christmas.